Welcome to the Leadership in Land podcast, where we talk about what actually moves the needle in the land business. This show isn't about getting rich or quick schemes or magic mail pieces. It's about leadership, systems, decision making, the stuff that you just happen to figure out after your third or fourth pricing mistake, or maybe just your first. This deal looks great on paper, got a moment. Well, tune in with me today, my friends, and let's dive right in.
You're listening to the RE Tipster Podcast Network.
Okay, so quick question for you. Have you heard of our Skool community? I just want to make sure to invite you to check that out. If you're listening to this episode, it's actually kind of old, to be honest with you. And so if you want our latest, if you want our greatest content we're putting out, real conversations about leadership, decision making, building a land business that actually works in the real world, get inside our Skool community where you get access to the free leadership course, plus bonus episodes, discussions, and insights that honestly just don't make it onto the podcast. So if you're serious about this, you want to learn more about leadership, get in the community, check it out, leadershipinland.com or skool.com/leadershipinland. All right, let's get in the episode. All right. Hey, everyone. It's Dave Denniston. You might possibly recognize me here and there. I'm active in the RE Tipster community, help to lead some masterminds, have a couple different land businesses. And I was talking to Seth about this project. You may have seen a post earlier from RE Tipster community that I was going down this journey of trying to say, hey, what data source is good or bad. And we've been using DataTree for, I want to say 4 or 5 years, something like that. And our background and how we're going to this research project I'm going to share with you here shortly is traditionally done smaller size flips. We've been working our way up to medium size flips. And DataTree, we would download the data. We would hire people, international VAs, to help scrub the data to get the kind of properties that we wanted, then to have a list. And then most recently, we've seen some new services here from the AppKey brothers with Land Portal, Lightbox, formerly Land Vision, that a lot of people have been doing. Now there's also PropStream some people are using. There's also Sumner Healy's Land Insights that some people are using. So there's just all these sources of data now, whereas before there was like Black Knight and there was DataTree and that was about it. And so for our own sake, and we wanted to share with the community what we've been finding as we're looking at data, some of the problems as we're comparing side by side as we go through this various services. Then we'll kind of tell you our plan of what we're planning on doing and why. And here with me, I have Cameron, who is my pricing analyst and helped with this project tremendously. I gave a lot of oversight, and then Cameron has really dug into the data and helped us with it. So he'll be here with me. Hey, Cameron.
Hey.
All right. So I am going to share my screen. So we have this spreadsheet together, and these are counties that we actually have already mailed. So we mail counties all across the country, variety of acreage sizes, variety of price points. Here we have the county and the state listed acreage range, DataTree records, Lightbox or Land Vision, if we're familiar with it, Land Portal records. So you notice we don't have PropStream. We don't have a couple of others because we figured for us this was good enough. If other people want to contribute and help us get this data, that would be great. These next two columns are our access scrubbing from DataTree in terms of the number of records that we got. And then this being Land Portal records based on their AI, where they are doing the access scrubbing for wetlands and road access and some of the stuff that we look for. So Cameron, why don't you do a broad overview, and then let's start talking about some examples.
Yeah, totally. So I guess going into this project, we didn't really know what to expect. We went in with the intention of saying, hey, let's figure out another data source to update our records that we already have access scrubbed with, so that we'll be able to pay like a flat month for flat price and not have to pay 6 cents every time we want to go pull a record from DataTree. So that's kind of how this all started. The big finding, the big takeaway is that every single data provider is completely different. And there is sometimes crossover, and then there's also sometimes not. It's also really interesting because all of the different providers have different numbers of records in just any given county range. So I guess if we look at Beaufort, South Carolina, top one on this list up here, you can see that on DataTree, there were 7,200 records. On Lightbox, Land Vision, there were 7,600 records. Then on Land Portal, when they use their AI to scrub and take away everything and only pull up the vacant land, then there's 9,100 records. And so these numbers are vastly different. You're like, okay, well, how do I go from 7,000 to 9,000 records of vacant land? Where do these all come from? I guess the answer is that we don't know, and neither do the data providers. So it's really interesting just looking into all the counties. Sometimes you'll see DataTree higher, sometimes you'll see Lightbox higher, sometimes you'll see Land Portal higher. And there's little to no correlation between kind of those or which one's going to be the highest number of records in any given county. But I guess.
Well, let me interrupt real quick here, Cam. People might be asking, okay, what filters did you put on this? What did that look like? And correct me if I have this wrong, but we use basically any vacant land, any type, whether it was industrial or commercial or residential or farming or anything. So we didn't put any restriction. Did I capture that right, Cameron, in terms of what we were looking for here in these columns C through E? Anything there you think I'm missing that we should let people know of in terms of how we got these numbers?
So the filters for column C through E are purely just county, acreage range, and then vacant land. That's all it is. So there's nothing baked in there other than that. No pricing assumptions, no last sale, no specific cities, none of that. So all of those numbers are just what does this data provider say there is for vacant land in this acreage range in this county.
Yep, love it. And you'll notice here, some counties don't have a whole lot of difference, like DataTree and Lightbox this is negligible to me, but all of a sudden Land Portal has somehow another 1,500 records. Or you look at Maricopa, Arizona, and there's 11,000 records in DataTree. There's 14,000 in Lightbox, and then Land Portal at the time we tried it couldn't pull up the number of records in Maricopa. We don't know why. It just wasn't doing it. I'm assuming it's a glitch because you had seen that we could zoom in to the county and see the properties. It looked a lot like it did on Land ID / MapRight forever.
Writing and sending purchase agreements doesn't have to take all day. With Stride CRM, you can generate a full contract with one click, send it to the seller, and track every step until it's digitally signed. No more switching between DocuSign and Google Drive and email. Stride keeps everything digital, fast, and organized in one place. Visit stridecrm.co and start watching your business improve today.
So that was some of the stuff that we noticed. In some cases, it's really egregious, like Cameron saw here in Volusia. Literally 2x the number of records, going from 15,000 to 31,000. Any other things in this column you want to highlight right now?
I guess the other really big one to talk about is DeKalb County, Tennessee. So we've had a problem in our business where we've come across a lot of properties that's the county says that they're an acre, but if you look at them and you look at the border on Land ID, it's actually not an acre. So we'll have a lot that comes in, our lead manager will talk to it and say, oh yeah, learn all this information about the property. Sounds great. I'll pass this off to my pricing team. we don't buy properties under an acre, so we've had to pass on a lot of properties. And so just kind of that mislabel in the data has been a big problem for us. In DeKalb, Tennessee here, you can see that DataTree pulled 6,300 records and Lightbox pulled about 3,000. Land Portal was about 2,400. But basically what happened, or when I was kind of spot checking through the differences between the DataTree and the Lightbox Land Portal lists, is that, Land Vision lists. It's all confusing. They all have land in them. But of those 3,000 records that were in DataTree and not Lightbox Land Vision, a lot of those were actually properties that were under an acre on Land ID. So really interesting. Helped us cut down on a lot of properties that we didn't want there by taking a look at that Lightbox set. Same thing in Hamilton, Tennessee. We've been having the problem in South Carolina a lot as well, but not any of the 3 counties we looked at on this case. Miraculously, I don't know how. But I guess, yeah, that's a lot of the interesting numbers right off the gate.
Which just to repeat to everybody. So in some counties, and it's not like statewide, it's just random counties, DataTree, for whatever reason, is pulling data that it shouldn't be. And we've seen this, I would guess probably, Cameron, maybe 5 or 6 counties that we've personally mailed, which we've mailed a fraction of what's out there that like, the set is 1 acre, but it's not 1 acre. It's half an acre or 0.6 or something, which has been frustrating for us and frustrating for sellers thinking that, hey, we sent out a blind offer and thought we're going to get this. It's like, sorry, we don't want the property. It's not even an acre big.
Exactly. Oh, let's also talk about Hunt, Texas. It should be up and in red. So Hunt, Texas, when we pulled our data from Lightbox/Land Vision, the alternate APNs are actually what popped up in the APN category. And when we try to type these alternate APNs into Land ID, they don't populate at all. Land ID just doesn't register them. So that made it really frustrating for us to go through and kind of find out where these actual properties are. We talked to the Lightbox team, and basically what they said is everybody pulls their data from different places. There's tax IDs, there's parcel IDs, there's all of these different ways of creating an APN. And we just do it a little bit differently than everybody else. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just different. And then I guess Bedford, Texas there as well. Just the formatting was different in the APNs between DataTree and Lightbox. So it was really hard to match them up against each other. Same thing down in Cherokee, Georgia below. And that one, I know they added a bunch of zeros into the middle of the APNs. Basically, moral of the story there, we were able to get about 75% of our data sets to match up pretty well between DataTree and Lightbox. But there are those 25% that the data is distinctly different and will not match up against our old existing records.
Absolutely. So we're wondering if anyone in the community knows land portal wise, like in some cases you have twice the number of records. So we're wondering, is there going to be similar issues with this that we've experienced other places where how are they jumping so high? Are they just getting that many more properties? Are they miscategorizing some of the acreage range? So if anyone has any input in that, we would love to hear if you've seen mistakes in some of the data from Lightbox or Land Portal that maybe we're not aware of. Now, just don't want to have this video go on forever. Want to talk about the other major thing, which this was our access scrubbing where VAs manually did it versus Land Portal and what they showed based on the same criteria we use, but all done with their AI in terms of the number of records. Cameron, you want to walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, you want to switch to the DT versus LP tab at the bottom?
Yes.
Sweet. So when we looked through this, on average, Land Portal had about, I think it was 11% more records. Yeah, 11% more records than our access scrubbing team. So our access scrub criteria that we go through is we have our VAs take a look and we say, hey, is there a road to this property? Or is there a way that I can legally get to this property? Because those are sometimes different. And then we also have them looking for wetlands and kind of buildability. Are you able to put a house on there? Or maybe is there already a house on there? If there is, we don't want it. And then in Land Portal, I got to get as close to that same criteria as I could. What I did was I used vacant land only using their access scrubbing or using their AI to access scrub the or physical and legal access. And then they use their wetland filter. And for buildability, their AI would filter out anything that already has a structure or house on it. The one thing it doesn't catch is any of those like HOA properties that are super skinny, maybe just a street, and like those wonky type properties you probably can't build on. So maybe that's part of the reason why there are more records from Land Portal than there are from our access scrub. But with the cost savings, it makes spending time on those potentially properties when you mail them or get a phone call negligible.
Absolutely. So overall, when we did a cost analysis, I was guessing on the low end, when we were using DataTree, we were having our own team doing it. On the low end, it might cost 15 to 20 cents a record for us to go through the whole process. And then when we saw Land Portal and the video that Seth had done on Land Portal and reviewed over it, it was like, man, this could save us a lot of money because on their top rated plan, it's about 6 cents a record for just the ones you download. So we're feeling like each of these data sets obviously have differences, and there's not necessarily one right data set. There might be errors, issues, no matter which one that you choose. But we feel, hey, we've been using DataTree for years. It's time to make a switch to try a different data set to see if it helps us get more data. We're believing it's going to save us a ton of money on the access scrubbing we've been doing. There were some spot checks done that Cameron did that, hey, it seemed to look okay, but we don't know until we get our hands dirty and actually do it. So that's what we're planning on doing. And then probably another year or 2 or 3 from now, then we'll switch again. Maybe someone else will have an even better AI doing more cooler things and just having a different set of data. So, Callan, if you're listening to this, tell Lightbox that we want to be able to have the AI interact to help us with that in the future. But that's kind of where we're at and what we're thinking, and with this data project that we've been working on. So anyone feel free to make comments, ask questions. This is by no means absolutely comprehensive, but I thought it was educational and interesting going through the exercise. Cameron, any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Yeah, just if there's anything that you're wondering about, anything we've talked about here, please just leave a comment, send us a message. Challenge me, please. I like to be challenged. But yeah, any feedback, comments, let us know.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya. All right. Well, that wraps up today's episode. If this was helpful, don't just let it live in your head. Take one idea from today and actually put it in practice. That, my friends, is where the real progress happens. If you want to check out and keep the conversation going with other land investors like you want to make sure to check out a whole bunch of free resources and talk about challenges that we all go through. Please come and check out our Leadership in Land community on Skool. We've got bonus content, real discussions, and a free leadership course. No hype required at all. Just check out leadershipinland.com or go to Skool, that's SKOOL.com/leadershipinland. Appreciate you being here. Talk soon.